this video is going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. And to this day, I don't think it has very many views. It's just like, that was a big bomb. And so after 10 weeks, I had 6 subscribers total and 244 views.
So first of all, welcome to Mark the Point. I got Jeremy here from Color Up. Jeremy, welcome to the show. This is actually the second one. So if you missed my first one, go check out David at Casino Quest. I did that about 2 weeks ago. It was a great conversations. It was great information. He really gave some really cool stories, cool feedback, and Jeremy is somebody that I've really looked up to when I started my YouTube channel, or even before that, when I was even still, I kind of knew a little bit about craps, but you really helped develop me into some of the different ways of thinking and how to do things, and I really do appreciate that. But Jeremy, go ahead if you don't mind, just for anybody. I'm sure everybody knows you here, but in case they don't, kind of say who you are and what you're about.
Well, how I got started, I don't know. That's a big topic. You'll have to ask me some specific questions. But first off, I do want to say thanks for having me on your show. Congratulations. You just recently hit 1,000 subscribers. So
Thank you.
I remember back in my journey, that's a huge milestone. And what do? I guess I'm a YouTuber, right? I guess that is a thing nowadays. So I'm officially a YouTuber. I don't know what you write on. Previously I wrote in content creator on my tax return, but I think I can write YouTuber. I don't even know the rules. It's kind of new to me, but that's what I do. Gambling content, and more specifically, or primarily, I should say, is dice, right? Craps. So
Yeah,
that's what I do.
So, what did you do to? I know everybody knows you as you're the systems guy, strategy. You kind of all this as far as craps wise. What did you do prior to YouTube? What was your typical trade?
Directly before this, I worked for myself. I had a production company where I made videos from start to end. So I'd had a few clients. We develop ideas. I'd film a video. I'd edit it for them, and then they would put it on their websites or social media or wherever. But I'd been doing that for a few years
Okay.
out on my own before I started part-timing. Like a lot of the channels, just deciding to make some content and put it out on YouTube world.
How long you been working with videography and stuff?
I probably had my own place probably before I started YouTube. Not too long, maybe 2 or 3 years. I had worked at an actual company in Phoenix for about 2 years, making TV shows and stuff. And then before that, I probably had about 10 years experience in a nonprofit setting where I was in charge of live events with lighting and sound and, making videos and everything like that. So I probably, had 10, 15 years experience before I
So, all
started
right.
YouTube.
And there's one thing that we know that you deliver whenever you do a video. It's the quality is great, right? You have great quality. The picture is nice. The sound quality is great. That's something I'm still kind of working out with. How did you take your experience from that to what you're at now? So how did it cross to how you did
Well,
it now?
it's just what I knew, right? I knew how to do it. I knew how to do things in excellence. And that was one of the reasons for starting the channel. Was really, I saw there was a big gap there was a few videos out there on the subject. They were either really old, decade old, 2 decades old, or they were low quality. There was only a couple guys active at the time, and it was just lower quality. So I believe if you got to set yourself apart somehow,
Hmm.
usually in YouTube, well, to a degree. But I knew I would have a leg up on some other channels if I brought my, experience and background by going high quality, right? Because, at the time I was no expert on the game. I'm
Hmm.
sure even to this day, there's probably people that have certainly more experience than me. Maybe, I pretty much know all the math and, all the ins and outs of the game at this point. But at the time, I didn't. I was basically teaching myself, but I knew I would basically produce what I wanted to see, and what I wanted to see was what wasn't out there, which was high quality. So I'm like, well, this will be easy. That part came easy for me. So
Okay, so
that's what
sorry,
I
so
wanted to do.
that leads right into my next question, right? So first of all, from the where you were, why craps, right? What led you going to, and we didn't have, I mean, maybe 6 years ago there was some YouTube channels out there, maybe not a lot. I mean, I think now there's over 300 YouTube channels that talk about gaming or casino or
Yeah.
craps and stuff like that. So how did you learn the game knowing there wasn't a lot of stuff really to learn? I mean, did you what drove you to how to play?
Well, I mean, if I can back up a little bit, when
Of
I was
course.
working at that production company, some guy had told me about YouTube and that people actually make a living on YouTube, and I just thought that was the craziest thing. We had hosted our videos on a different platform called Vimeo. I don't think there's a money making aspect to that or anything, but he's like, yeah, they run ads on videos. And he showed me Casey Neistat at the time. I don't know if some YouTube people are familiar with this guy. And so I was watching all of his stuff and just kind of planting that seed in the back of my mind. I left the company and went out on my own. And, just during downtime between clients, I'm like, man, I wonder if you can really make, money on YouTube. What would I talk about? And so I'm like, well, I got to talk about something I know about or passionate about or whatever, which is usually what I recommend to people. But in this case, I don't know why I just ran across some craps videos. And like I said, they were low quality, but funny
Mhm.
enough, the ones that had been posted. So this would have been, 15, I mean, they must have been 20 years ago now, early 90s videos, and they had like millions of views on them. I'm like, wait
Mhm.
a second. A couple of these craps videos have millions of views, but there's
And they
only
look
like
crap.
100 videos total on the subject. So I'm like, I think there's a crowd that wants to see it, but no one's making the content for it. And
Right.
there was like Bone Thrower. I forget a
Yep.
couple other little names, but maybe two or three that were really consistently active. And so, yeah, I'm
So,
like, I think this is something I can try. Really, it was
so,
just an
so did you
experiment.
search again? Did you kind of search through that content, or I mean, because you now you have to know numbers, you have to know, I mean, hot bets and stuff like. Did you know all that before you even started doing videos, or did you kind of learn that as you went as well?
Well, I'm a researcher, so and probably detrimental. So when I get infatuated something with it, I research it to death before I start anything. And so, I mean, I ordered every single book off of Amazon that I could. I watched every limited video, and I read them over and over again. So I knew a lot about it. And then I basically wrote the scripts out for like my first 20 videos. So when I started making videos, they weren't strategy videos. They were how-to videos. They were
Right.
like, what is
Yep.
this bet? How do you do this? And so a lot of that was just kind of repetition and reminding myself and, teaching myself more about the game. So a lot of it was, yeah, just a lot of research and reading through books and everything, kind of getting everything
And,
figured
and
out.
a story that you've told before, I think it was in a separate video. How many subscribers did you have in the first 2 months, and how many views?
Yeah,
I think this
sometimes I
is
guess,
kind
but
of
actually, since I'm at home here, I have my actual data. So I started in April 2017, and then I did 2 videos a week for 10 weeks. And so after 10 weeks, I had 6 subscribers total and 244 views on my first 20 videos in
wow.
basically 2 months, a little over 2 months.
So with, and you said you're a perfectionist. You said you put into work to try to make it good quality. You
Yeah.
did the research. Here you are 2 months in, and you feel like, what am I doing here? What kept you motivated to want to do more? I mean, I felt like, because okay, I'm gonna back up just a little bit. So you and I had a discussion. I had 22 subscribers, right? I'd been in it for 3 weeks, maybe a month. And I said, what's going on, man? I've only got 22 subscribers, and I've been doing this. So here you are, like six or whatever. And what kept you going?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's hard to remember back at the time. I think it was just a belief in that I had done the research. I knew that there were videos with millions of views. Someone wants to see this content. It's just a matter of time.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know, honestly. Maybe it was naivety or whatever, but I was like, hopefully they would eventually come. I don't know if I had set a point where I would give up.
Mhm.
But back then I don't remember thinking about it. I think I was just excited about making the next video and making the next video. The first 20 I did have planned out, and that's kind of why I have the data for that. But yeah, I really just was like, what's next? What can I make next? It was exciting to make. And with only 200 views and 6 subs, there wasn't a lot of action. There wasn't a lot of comments, but apparently it was enough to keep me going. But honestly, I don't remember the motivation. It was just, I think it was excited about making videos and just trying. But yeah, it certainly wasn't the feedback from, views or subscribers, because that was not happening.
Yeah, I could definitely see where that could be very disappointing very fast. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of transition to this. It took you how many months do you remember that it took you to get to 1,000 subscribers? Do you know offhand?
Yeah, let's see. I have here. So it says no
And then
November
while you're looking at it, and
2018.
20, okay.
So that would
So
have been almost a year and a half.
so at what point in time did you feel like I've made it? And maybe the 1,000 wasn't the threshold. Maybe it was
Mhm.
2,000. When did you feel like I've really got this thing? Like it's really working for me. I mean, was there like a moment where it clicked? You said, you know what? I'm really getting momentum. I'm gaining
No,
some ground. And did you
yeah,
did you have that moment?
no, not really. Back then YouTube was a little different, so there was some. I did get paid. I remember it was let's see, it says in July, so this was April, May, June, 3 or 4 months in, I earned 34 cents.
Hmm.
That's all, off of views. They didn't pay you out until you hit $100. I don't think I didn't hit that until that year and a half mark when I got my, November of the next year. So, 18 months in or whatever. But some of that was kind of cool. Like, wow, okay, maybe you can make money. But from my remember, I remember 1,000 was a big deal. It was weird to think that 1,000 people could be watching you, and some of my videos had more views than that. And then I remember the big number that I was always shooting for, and that was like, man, I've achieved something, was 10,000.
Hmm.
It was the hardest, but that, like, yeah, it was like 2, and then getting to 5 was crazy. I'm like, wow, maybe someday I can hit 10. So that was, from my memory, that was always the big number that I was always kind of kept me excited and was
And
going
you're
for.
almost at
That
a
was the big
thousand
goal.
subscribers.
What's
You're
that?
almost you're almost at 100,000. So you're I think we're right at
Yeah.
92,000 right now, right?
Yeah, right.
Right at 92.
Yeah, and I should, January, February, if the numbers stay consistent, I'll probably hit that number, maybe for Christmas. So,
Oh,
yeah, pretty
I
exciting
think
stuff.
I think you'll probably do it before then. You got a lot of momentum when you're in. I think
The
you're gonna
numbers
and
seem
you.
are pretty consistent, for the last
Okay.
6 months. So, yeah,
Well, the one thing is you definitely put out great content. You put out stuff that people like to see, and I love to watch them as well. So,
thank you.
all right. So fast forward to kind of like I said, kind of right now. Um, Maybe 6 months ago, when did you went full time into YouTube, where
Hmm.
you kind of you took away all your freelance stuff or whatever it was.
Hmm.
What was that like, and what was that conversation like? How with the family to say, "Hey guys, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to step out and be solely on YouTube." What was that like?
Well, I mean, it was an inevitable conversation. I mean, it was like a long term conversation, because it was, at some point, you get 50,000, 60,000, 70,000. You're starting to get in the views. YouTube money's coming. You're like, maybe this could actually be a thing. So yeah, it was maybe 5 or 6 months ago. I know I took a big step back for COVID. So it took, a year to recover from that. But
Mhm.
yeah, at some point the growth was there, the kind of consistency of the money was there. And I'm like, if I can start saying goodbye to some of my clients, I'll have more free time.
Mhm.
And yeah, just say no to them and hope that the YouTube thing works out. So
So your wife was she kind of in a shock moment, or your family,
nah,
or were
not
they
really,
like
because I mean
were they
because I
for
had,
it?
yeah, we're used to it. I had been, anyone who's self-employed knows that, which I had been for the few years before that. It has its ups and downs. It's always scary.
Mhm.
You can never. To me now, I actually think it's more easy to rely on myself than to rely on a company who could fire you at any moment.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of a mindset thing. But yeah, I was comfortable already with like, hey, if I don't make it happen, this month, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills next month. So
Right.
I was already used to that sort of thing. So it wasn't a huge shock to the wife. It was just like, well, I mean, if the numbers dictate it and it looks like it's there, we can make the leap. So yeah.
So you mentioned the COVID year, and that's kind of did you fear a collapse? Did you have a fall in COVID, or it seems like people were at home more, that they would probably would
Well,
have been on YouTube more. It seems like.
yeah, I know a lot of channels exploded during this time because
Yep.
people were home. But I think the
Hmm.
problem, and I talked to Casino Quest about this too. I think they took a pretty big hit too at the beginning, and mine went from, you know, I've actually just now hit the numbers that I was at before COVID. So it's taken
Okay.
me, what, 2.5 years to climb back.
Like views per day,
Yeah,
per
like
month,
views
per
per
year.
video and that sort of
Okay.
views per month and that sort of thing. So I was jamming back then, and it had gone really quick. So it was really exciting. But yeah, as soon as COVID hit, I mean, I went from like 90 to 5%. Like, I don't know the numbers. I could pull them up, but I mean, that's how drastic of a drop it was. And I think it was because casinos were shut down for at least a little while, right? So there was just no reason for people to, right? I get all my views from people Googling how do you play craps,
Yeah,
or
because they're in Vegas, ready to play.
they go to the casino, they go to Vegas, they
Yep.
see this game, like,
Yep.
what is this game, or how do you play this, or whatever. So that's
Yep.
where all my viewers and views come from. And
Yep.
so if they weren't going to the casino, why would you search it? Why would you Google it? So it really just, in our industry, it just fell off the map. It just was non-existent in people's
So
minds. They had more
there you
things,
go. So
bigger things to worry about.
you got somebody ready for you, because a play button there. So if you don't mind me saying real quick, you have another play button. You actually have a play button, right?
Yeah, yeah. Here,
Yeah. Let's
yeah,
let's
right
shut
there.
it. Okay,
That's my
real
first
quick,
one.
quick story. Okay, because most people only know this channel.
Ah,
Your color up. I
mhm.
mean, maybe not. In my community that I know, what was that one for?
uh, Elf on the Shelf Live, which is it's a little red doll. It comes with a book, and what it is it's kind of an evil thing. So what you do, it comes out at Thanksgiving, this doll in this book, and tells a story that this little elf, he watches your kids, and every night he flies back to the North Pole and tells Santa, hey, if the kid's been naughty or nice, right? So it's a way to like trick your kid to be naughty for at least 2 months, or to be
Or
good.
good? Yeah.
Right. And so, and then usually when the elf comes back, he's in a new position. So every morning the kid wakes up and he's like, oh my gosh, where is he today? And, this time he's by the toilet, or this time he's in the curtain. And I had this idea. Well, it's kind of based off, I've seen people make like little Barbie movies where they, just move the Barbie figurines around in G.I. Joe.
Hmm.
And I'm like, well, I could probably do this with this elf. And so I started making them, hide my hand. I'd tie them up by strings or whatever. And I'd, pitch my voice through a microphone to make it sound like, an elf voice, high pitched voice. And I basically brand, it wasn't motion capture or anything. It was just, I brought this little elf to life. And so I made him do all kinds of just stuff all the time. And
And again,
so
it's
it,
totally tough. Did you have any main promoters that said, "Hey, I want you to market this stuff," or anything like that, or
no,
did
no,
they
it
reach out
was,
to you?
yeah, nothing like that. The just, and it's really from, it's dead from January through November. And then all of a sudden I'll go in November and December, we were getting like 1 million views on every single video. It was crazy. So, and
That's
then
awesome.
each year, it just kind of grow bigger and bigger. So yeah,
I got we got
it was a
a
crazy thing.
question here. Have you ever gone to VidCon or any other creator conferences in your past?
Yeah, no, I've never really gotten involved in. I probably should, right? Because I'm a YouTuber, but I've never really
Mhm.
got into the YouTube help and counseling, and it's all kind of self-taught and figuring out on my own, and never really went. I can never afford to go to those conventions and stuff like that for YouTube, but yeah, I don't know. I just never have.
So to get back real quick on your adjustment, so you said you were already kind of a freelancer, so you'd already worked for yourself, not really working for somebody. In those first 2 months, what kind of adjustments did you have to make? Because maybe you was killing on those extra jobs that you didn't have.
Mhm.
Did the I wouldn't say the profits, did the income match what you were losing on the back end? I mean,
Oh
as far as
no,
any of that.
no, I knew once I said goodbye to, and I kind of did them one at a time, but I knew once I got rid of each client, I would, basically at that point when I made the decision, it was like 50% was coming through YouTube,
Hmm.
50% was my clients. And so I knew I would take a pretty big hit. But for me, it was worth it to free up the time and not have to worry about them, 5 days a week. It was like, now all I have to worry about is making more videos. So I should be able to do better. Yeah. So it
All
was,
right.
yeah, it was, I mean, it was still a leap of faith, but, yeah, it wasn't super scary for me. It was just kind of what I was used to.
All right. So I got a two-part question here. You ready?
Yep.
So as of right now, what's your most popular question, no, most popular video,
Hmm.
your
I have
least
to look
popular
this up.
video? And then while you're thinking about that, I'm going to have another follow-up to what video, and actually John from ProCraps submitted this. What video did you put, like, you felt like the most effort in? You worked on the quality, the content. You're like, this is going to be, I'm going to nail this video, right? And then it ends up being a bust. You're like, what the heck? You felt like it was the
Yeah.
greatest
Okay.
idea. I don't know if maybe it's a little extreme, but just a video that you really thought was a great video versus, and then on the other end, what video would you thought that was really poor quality or not really your best content that ended up doing really well?
Yeah. Let me just sort here by views. So looks like I basically have a virtual tie. So, how to play craps with my son, which I still to this day get a ton of comments. It is a 5-year-old video, and learn how to play craps in 4 minutes. Both have over 1 million views, and
Yeah, I knew that one was a good one for sure.
yeah, those are very big videos for me. As far as least amount of views, let's see here.
I guess you got to take out like the last 3 months, right? Or take out the last year.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
something
yeah.
something that's
Yeah.
gone
Let's see.
for a
A
while.
public video. Uh, it says I did an update from Diamond Jack's Casino. It has like 2,000 views back in. I think that was I stopped at a casino and made an update because I was moving from Texas to Florida at the time. So that's my my least viewed video. It was just a update video. So I mean that kind of makes sense, I
Eh,
guess.
So one thing that I'm about to transition to. So I actually started, and I know you and I kind of talked about this a little bit. I started with the crapsy table, right? So I was on the digital world playing crapsy, trying to do a couple systems there, um, because I didn't have my own table set up. But now going back to where I'm at now, I have about 25 videos or so. I'm wanting to weed some of those older because I don't. I feel like I don't want that to be who I am anymore, right?
Right.
Did you ever have any videos that you weeded out because you felt like that's not really you, or that you really wanted to kind of move forward to a different direction, or they just wasn't good content? Did you ever? I'll say delete them, just kind of make them more to private.
No, I've got a couple. I have live videos that I have unlisted, but I don't think I've hit anything as far as quality wise. For me, I
Mhm.
wouldn't have made the video in the first place. I'm not trying to be rude or anything. It's
Mhm.
or arrogant. It's just if I'm going to make a video, it's going to be worth living on the internet forever, unless
Right.
it's for a specific thing. So I've got some unlisted club member only videos and some unlisted like live video things that that aren't relevant. But as far as a video, if I'm making it, I'm going to put the effort in. It's going to be, it's kind of different. I understand when you're saying you were doing a digital table. But even that for me, I was like, I knew at the time, I wanted to wait until I had ordered a layout and had the
Hmm.
chips and had the cameras set up before I would make a video. So that was just me, you know. I'm a researcher and I take too long, which is a problem. You know, there's other personalities who will just like, hey, I got this idea and jump into it. And I actually really envy that sort of thing, you know, especially in business when people can just jump right in and they'll figure it out on the fly. Cause you know, I'm more of a procrastinator, I guess it's almost, and I drag my feet and I miss out on opportunities because I don't just jump in and figure out. Because I ended up figuring it out on the way anyway. You mentioned you had another question about John. John had asked that I didn't answer. Oh, there,
That you thought you put.
yeah, there was this one video. I still use it in my intro. It's a little section where I'm rolling, but I made this like 5 minute long, super cinematic video. I spent a few days on it where I'm like drinking whiskey. I don't drink and I don't smoke, but for this video, I'm like drinking whiskey and I'm smoking a cigar and, you know, all this cool stuff is happening. And I'm like, this video is going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. And to this day, I don't think it has very many views. It's just like, that was a big bomb that I spent my, I love that video. But it
But
just,
you're
no
proud
one
of it,
cared.
right? You,
No one cared.
well, I mean, but you're setting up the casino scene, right? Because there's a lot of that. So
Yeah.
can you think of any that you thought was just a absolute random idea, a random thought, and you're like, there's no way this could go big, right?
Well, I mean,
But
a
it
lot
actually
of
ended up
them.
doing well.
I mean, if I look at kind of one of my more popular videos is an Iron Cross video. I mean, it's wow, 600,000 at this point, and
Hmm.
it was just a throwaway video. It was like, but the title was key. How to, I think it was like how to win every time,
Hmm.
and it was, you know, it's the Iron Cross. It's not a big deal. It was just a strategy. It's just one of my other 100 strategy videos, and then it just popped right into this day. I do know that it has a little to do with the title and the thumbnail, but
And we're actually going to talk about that a little bit later. So stay
okay.
tuned for a couple questions later. We're going to talk about thumbnails. We're going to talk about titles. And I got that. I got that a little later.
But there's
Go ahead. Let you finish
certainly,
here.
yeah, there's certainly videos that just go really big for, I have no idea why. I do kind of have a general idea now. For me, I love informational videos. I love to teach. I love to
Hmm.
share about the game. And I know if I make a video about in depth about buy bets versus lay bets, I know it's going to be here. And if
Hmm.
I know if I make a video that, you know, the strategy ran well or something like how to win every time, I know
Yeah.
it's going to go do gangbusters.
Oh,
So
there's definitely, again, talk about later. There's definitely some clickbait involved, right?
yeah,
You have
yeah.
to.
So I kind of have an idea now, which is it's kind of, you know, it's like a pull and tug for me of what I really want to make, but what I know I have to put out every once in a while to keep the numbers going, really.
Yeah. So,
Because
so I,
yeah,
uh, so I actually have, and again, talk about quality. I think it's a terrible video, but it's actually been my second most popular video. And again, I'm a little bit different terms. I'm at right at 8,000 views on this video, but it's my first time ever playing bubble craps.
okay,
And I'd never played bubble craps before. I mean, it's literally I've seen people do it, and I've seen the different way people press. I had $200. I said, okay, let's try to play some bubble craps, and I made a little video. I was in Vegas. My wife was sitting there, sitting there filming while I did it, and it's hit up almost. And again, it's terrible quality, but it's almost 8,000 views so far. And I'm like, hey,
yeah.
why does this thing keep getting those views? And it's not even nothing to it, you know.
Yeah, that part is just the mystery of YouTube. That's the
Hmm.
unknown. So you just keep
Yep.
plugging away, putting out content, and you know some part of it is just a mystery that just yeah.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you coming on. This is awesome. Thank you for showing up and a good and great content. So kind of giving a little experience what you did when you got started, and then kind of moving on to your life now. What your future of your YouTube experience and where you're going next, and even giving a little bit of suggestions on thumbnails. Right. So I appreciate it, man. It's great information, great knowledge, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you joining me today.
Yeah, happy to share. You just have to ask and I'll come on.
Oh, hey, I appreciate it. Well, good luck to you, and good luck to hitting that 100,000 subscriber
Yeah,
count.
yeah, thank you.
You're right there at it, man. You're doing a great job, and again, from me to you, from somebody who was there at the beginning when I asked a lot of questions, and even throughout, I probably emailed you more than you probably wanted me to, even setting up this live. But I really do appreciate it. I can't tell you that enough.
Yeah, happy to help. Like I said, I'm happy to help. I love people getting involved, and especially the creator side, right? Because I'm a creator, so
Yep.
I have a special part of me that's like, oh yeah, cheering them on, like let's do it, So yeah,
Yep.
glad to help.
Hey, thank you very much. Thank you for all who in the comment section. Some good feedback here. There's Jeff, some Callie. I don't think I've ever called you California Craps Club. I think I've always called you Callie in the chats. So I appreciate it. Always got Nemo here. Thanks, Nemo, for showing up and chatting with us. And thank you again, Jeremy. You have a great day. And until next time, guys, mark the point. Stay awesome. Thanks, Jeremy.